It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by AgileDad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. I was just reflecting on someone who I consider I shouldn't say a very good friend, but a friend nonetheless. Someone who I've been in contact with, a gentleman by the name of Richard Branson. And someone had an opportunity to ask him some questions, and it was like an open Q&A format. And one of the young ladies in the audience asked, "What was your first thought you had when you went to space?" I thought to myself, I said, that's an incredible question. What would you think when you're doing this, what might be once in a lifetime opportunity, right? And his answer surprised me. His answer caught me off guard. He said, "While I wish I could say that it was something much more articulate than a pure and simple wow, but I'm afraid that was truly my first thought. Wow." I have been in so many situations where I don't want to call it a stupor of thought, but I've just been so taken in the moment that wow was the only thing I could feel. When you're rocketed into such a profound, tremendous, and celestial moment as this, everything else, words, thoughts, etc., are all stripped down to their simplest form. I have been in that ineffable place many times before where I have just been in a situation where words couldn't even describe how I felt. I felt like any word would be inadequate. And I'm so grateful that I could have those wow moments and know that I had the support of family, friends, loved ones when I was going through those moments. And sometimes those moments are very positive, other times not so much. But he reflected on his space flight. He said, "Since my space flight, it's been delightful to watch others experience the same gravity defying, awe inspiring, and speech minimizing moment. Hearing the pilot say, 'Release, release, release,' as the spaceship drops from the mothership and then launches straight up into space takes my breath away each and every time." I couldn't imagine. Richard, if you're listening to this podcast, I would love, love, love to be on one of those flights. I think it'd be incredible. The unfortunate part is it's the price of a small home, and I don't know that I have that much funds available to do it. Virgin Galactic's third commercial spaceflight window opens on September 8th, and I cannot wait to see three of our future astronauts have their own wow moment so soon. I have vivid memories leading up to my wow moment. I remember the climb to our point of release went past in what felt like only a few seconds. Then suddenly, it was time for the 1 minute drop warning. After hearing the thrilling release, release, release call, I was swung back into my seat as we went from 0 to 2,300 miles per hour. We were flying straight up like an arrow, and within 8 seconds, we had broken the sound barrier. It was a magnificent feeling that seemed to go on and on for a very long time. The roar of the rocket drowning out the beat of my heart. Then the silence was suddenly all encompassing. We had finally made it to space. I dreamt about this moment since I was a child, but nothing could have ever prepared me for the view of Earth from space. It was pure magic. Mark Kelly, a NASA astronaut who's become a good friend over the years, had shared some tips the night before our first flight. He urged me not to focus on the weightlessness, but to sit by the window for a few moments and take it all in. It was sage advice. I sat and stared at the planet we had risen skyward from, going from blue to black. I could see a thin line of the atmosphere. I could imagine my family back there waving up at me. The beauty of everything was simply overwhelming. The moment arrived to share my message from space. I stayed strapped in, staring back at the world through the enormous window by my seat, looking down to Earth and then back at the drawings my grandchildren gave me. And I said, "For all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream, looking up at the stars. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship looking down on beautiful Earth. To our next generation of dreamers, if we can do this, just imagine what you could do." As I spoke, the spaceship was turning around upside down. Upon my final word, I unstrapped myself and floated freely into the cabin. This was my Peter Pan dream come true. I was flying. I felt like a small child, like a bird, impossibly free. It was extraordinary. It was just wow. While many of us may never have the opportunity to go to space, I thought I would dedicate this Friday's Agile Not So Agile episode of the Daily Stand Up Podcast to talking about dreams. This dream was a big dream, and Richard made it come true. And Richard, on so many occasions, has reached out and made the dreams of others come true, making him someone who I adore, someone who I admire, someone who I feel is an ambassador, a mentor, a servant leader, and someone who I love at an incredibly deep level just because of the way he processes information and, more importantly, moreover, the way he treats people. He could have thought of anything to say at that moment, and anything would have been appropriate. You're in space, for crying out loud. There's no limitation to what you can and can't say. But the fact that he turned this into a moment to focus on children and to focus on their dreams and to focus on helping people achieve the impossible, that's the difference between an entrepreneur who built an incredible kingdom and empire, but also gives back as much as he possibly can compared to others who build these incredible empires only to have self-fulfillment. Richard, I applaud you. I applaud your ability to help make dreams come true. I applaud your ability to reach out to others. And I hope that one day I can have a level of success that I can be able to instill and help make people's dreams come true. Although I try every day on a small scale to do the same thing, I hope that I can magnify what I'm trying to do and help others really recognize the power that comes from being able to feel magic and to help others feel magic. And it reminds me of those timeless words from the story Peter Pan. You can fly. You can fly. You can fly. That's going to do it for today. I hope that all of you accept my challenge and find a way to make someone's dream come true. Find a way to uplift someone. When you do, it'll help you be a better person. And as always, I encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next week, do take care.